Another Han Luan night. A table of diplomacy in a small town was taken to the hospital by a rat spirit, a place that is destined to be glimpsed by time. It is said that this kind of hospital has been under the influence of a terrible group of people since then. Hundreds of patients and medical staff are among them. Their souls cannot be damaged. Every time I come out again at night, I feel good. Han Han is a so-called explorer of the supernatural world. In 2.5 years I have experienced many paranormal phenomena for everyone. He is also an atheist. He wants to prove that there is no ghost in this matter, so he has to go to Fiki Hospital tonight. Han Han is equipped with digital cameras and camping equipment as always. He decided to take a closer look at this legendary and terrifying hospital. Arriving at the hospital gate, a screen of bad news continues, as if deep in a spiritual cave. After 2.5 years of growth, I have achieved a little success. Already 2.5 meters high. Han Han then enters the hospital and wanders around. Police wandering, hanging the slippery man who was half burned by the fire. The traces of time and the darkness of the hospital are related to each other. Observing every detail of every tree with soul-sucking heart. The flashlight set is not only familiar with wandering in empty conditions. Behind a half-open door. It's an unusual ward. Gray comic. After ordering, it is the hanger of the content that can watch the rise and fall of breathing. Suddenly, Kunkin saw a figure appear beside the bed. A woman in a nurse's uniform. His hair was broken. His face was pale. His eyes were dazed. When Yun Renchen came out of the fort building, he said in a fierce voice, "You are here too." "Save me." Kunkin's words at this moment were discussed. He realized that this time he was a long thing. He turned and fled. He passed through the gray sun in 2.5 corners, heading towards the hospital gate, but the distance from the ball was relatively long. There were countless patients in other places. Otherwise, the lights of the ball would not be visible at all. It was in darkness. At this moment, the official found a room. The giant worker grew up. But the room was filled with a hazy atmosphere. There was a gas that made people feel sore. The official had to hold his mouth and try to control his breathing. Suddenly, the official saw a son-in-law wearing red clothes with a terrible expression, a silver-red pair of silver-red shoes that would test people's eyes. The ghost pointed directly at the direction of Xuanchu and said, "Go from here, don't look back." Run towards the gate. Ho-Han followed the ghost's words and flew towards Xuanfu. He laughed. He landed next to the 3,609-degree free fall. It was just a very thin bowl when he landed. Ho-Han didn't feel the pain in his legs. He ran towards the gate of the hospital. Finally, Ho-Han escaped from this hospital. The moment he walked towards the hospital, Ho-Han felt a sudden change on the ground. The moonlight sprinkled on his face. It seemed to have changed the dream he had just passed. His body breathed. Turning back to the abandoned hospital, I was filled with high pie and a few pieces of paper. I thought that if it wasn't for the female ghost who saved me, I would have gone to save her. It was too difficult. On the 3rd day after Kunkin returned home, he stayed awake all night. The prison was constantly saving him. Kunkin realized that these Wang Lin men seemed to be waiting for the rescue. So Kunkin began to investigate the hospital's history and Hunan's stinginess. During his investigation, he found some key clues. These clues were not because of the biggest in the Tao Dao, but another reason. This is why I haven't consumed it yet. Please listen to the next special episode. If you like this story, please follow it. Goodbye.